Welcome to episode 48 of 1530. Today we're going to discuss Rafael Nadal's triumph. He won his 14th French Open title and his 22nd Grand Slam overall. So that's further distancing himself from Federer and Djokovic, who are now tied with 20 slams. But Nadal is at 22, two ahead of both of them. So pretty amazing he was able to do that. And we'll talk more about context around that. He, of course, had to play Djokovic. It was a great match. I don't know how much you're able to catch of it, Matt, but yeah, we'll talk about the French Open, kind of things we learned there, and we'll talk about Wimbledon as well, which is coming up soon, and good old grass court tennis in the short season that is grass court tennis. We're also going to talk about Kevin Anderson, who announced, this was before the French Open, that he's retiring from the sport. We're going to talk about his contributions, especially Wimbledon was one of his best tournaments there, so we'll discuss those statistics. But first, we want to discuss the stat of the day. Stat of the day is 13.5%. So that is the percentage based on a metric that we have here for the clay court warm-ups, the number of points that are scored. So that's Nadal's worst result en route, I think it's ever, but en route to still winning the French Open anyway. So he made the round of 16 in Rome and only the quarterfinals in Madrid. And he didn't play in Monte Carlo or Barcelona. So his score there, each of those tournaments, Rome and Madrid, are Masters 1000s, and he was not able to score very many points, equivalent of 13.5%, or really a half of a tournament, equivalent tournament won. So, I have this tracker. I thought maybe it shows some predictive elements for maybe the years where Nadal didn't win or struggled more, maybe barely won the French Open, but that was not the case this year. He won in dominant fashion. He did have a 5-setter against Felix Auger-Aliassime, but he defeated Djokovic in 4 sets in the quarters, and he routed Casper Ruud in the final. But I don't know, Matt, anything on that stat, or I guess Nadal fan, anything in general about Nadal?
No, not at the moment. I think generally your metric's been pretty good. This year seemed to be a little bit of an outlier, but it probably helps that he didn't have to really, well, I say he didn't have to play a semifinal. The 2 sets that they did play were long, but that's certainly a bonus that he had there with Zverev unfortunately getting injured.
Right. Yeah, that match was super, super tight. Like you mentioned, I think, wasn't Zverev, I think he was up a break in each set, and both sets Nadal came back, forced a tiebreak in the first set, won the first set tiebreak, for second set ended right at 6-all when Zverev really badly rolled his ankle for some ligaments and things. So pretty much ended the match right there.
Like 2 holds in that second set.
Yeah.
There were a lot of breaks.
Yeah, I think you're right. So yeah, maybe fortunate for Nadal. I think, who knows what would have happened, but probably still could have won it, but it would have been a much tougher match for him than just ending right there. But still, the quarterfinal that really was kind of the final against Djokovic, the big showdown.
Yep.
It had definitely had some up and downs. I don't know how much you're able to watch or look at the momentum, but Nadal really wouldn't quit. Djokovic didn't either in I believe it was the second set where Djokovic won it. Nadal was actually up a break and Djokovic came back. So there was definitely some good fight on both sides, but Nadal just proved to be too great, even though it was played at night where the ball doesn't quite fly or stay up as high, move as quickly through the court like Nadal likes with the high topspin, but didn't matter to him anyways. Just like a couple years ago when they played the French Open in the fall, and everyone's like, oh, Nadal doesn't have any chance. It's too cold. And he, dominated that French Open. So kind of similar. He really, really loves this tournament, and he fought really, really hard and showed the championship battle, beating Djokovic there.
Yeah. Yeah, Rafa actually had. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, if I remember correctly, Rafa had, I think he was up 2 breaks in that second, and Joe came back and listed off 3 breaks and took the set. And I thought for sure Joe was just going to pummel him from there on out, but Rafa kept in there.
Not the case. Yeah, there's definitely some good fight back and forth. That's fun to see. Kind of interesting to note as well, Nadal has now won the French Open, a record extending, obviously 14 times, which is kind of crazy to put in context because I know when I was first really following men's tennis, professional tennis, Federer was trying to break Sampras's record of 14 Grand Slams, and that was the record you got to shoot for. Now we have someone, Rafael Nadal, who's won one of the Grand Slams 14 times on its own. So it's just, mind-boggling that stat, and the number of times he's won the championship. And he's not done yet, Maybe you can talk about it a little bit more, but the injections that he had to put in his foot to keep, even playing, and what did he say? He couldn't feel his foot while he was playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they put in like a neural block or something. I don't know how he moved around on the court like that without feeling in his foot. I don't know. Maybe I don't understand exactly what they did or exactly what they meant by no feeling, but I just feel like, footwork is so critical in tennis, and you can't feel your foot.
I don't understand it either, but I do understand his love of the game, and love for Roland Garros in particular is maybe even greater than love for his own body. We'll see how, he's got a whole life ahead of him, has all the money he needs, but yet he still keeps playing and sacrificing his very own body to keep playing and keep winning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's amazing. Else is it going to stay? Yeah, and then on the other side, so we knew Alcaraz was going to be a big time player, and he started a little slow against Zverev, and Zverev was able to control the moment. I think Zverev said, "Yeah, I noticed. Once he started coming back, I knew we couldn't let it push 5 sets, and it did go 4 sets in the fourth, and it was tight. Alcaraz was right there, but Zverev ended up barely edging him and kind of closing him out. So interesting. Alcaraz did, quarterfinals is not a bad result, but maybe it was a little bit too soon, almost knighting him, that even though he dominated on the clay this year, Grand Slam's a big ask, and Zverev has been a great opponent on clay for a number of years now. So it was tough, but he wasn't able to get it done, obviously.
Yeah, that third set is makes it a whole different match. Now, obviously, he lost the first 2, and they asked him about the difference between playing a slam and playing just the the ATP Masters tournaments and things in the lead up, and he talked about that, but he put a good spin on it. Obviously, he said, if this were not a 5-setter, then I'd have been done. He said, I at least had a chance. I took the third and had a chance in the fourth, and just didn't take care of it. But yeah, it's a learning experience, and quarters is nothing to be ashamed of. Yeah, no doubt we'll see him around.
Yeah, definitely. Be interesting to see how his game translates on grass. I think he's won the Wimbledons as juniors.
Okay.
But I don't know how his results have been as of late. And I know he just lost a tune-up match, or I guess an exhibition you would call it, against Tiafoe. Pretty lopsided, 6-4, 6-2 or something. It was pretty one-sided. So we'll see if he can find his footing on grass. But obviously he played great on hard court even before the French, winning Miami. So like you're saying, he's not going anywhere. Expect him to get better, but I wonder, getting ready for the big stage and being ready to play in these Grand Slams, something he'll need to work his way into. But
yeah,
he's been a great player to watch, really fun to watch. So yeah, some other things from the French Open I thought were interesting was the emergence of Cilic. He kind of came from nowhere, kind of forgot about him. With his, he didn't make the final. Of course, he lost to Casper Ruud. Casper Ruud became the first Norwegian player to make the Grand Slam final, so that's pretty cool to see. But Cilic, he made the semifinals, first time semifinals for Roland Garros, and now I think all 4 slams he's been at least to the semifinals or up or beyond. Of course, he's won the U.S. Open. He's made the final of Australian Open and final of Wimbledon. So that's pretty amazing that he's able to do it on all the surfaces. And it's fun watching his highlights. I felt like he was really dominating with his forehand, dictating, doing some inside out. I don't really know what happened with the Carlos or with the Casper Ruud match. Wasn't really sure why he struggled so much, but still hats off to Marin Cilic for still playing some good tennis, showing he's got good tennis left in him, and really finding his game on the clay, which I didn't really, think he would go as far as he did. He beat Rublev in a fifth set tiebreak, where even Rublev admitted it was all mental. The emotions sometimes rules Rublev, but Rublev is a player that plays pretty well on the clay, pretty well overall. So he was able to use his experience and invest Rublev and really stay calm in the big moments. I think a fifth set tiebreak. I mean, that's what every tennis player, dreams of playing in the tough moments, and the fans really enjoy it too. But Cilic was able to win that tiebreak and move on. So
yeah, I think experience won out there.
Yeah,
got a few more years on Rublev.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I'm just looking here at the final stats and the final Casper Ruud against Nadal, and that was kind of my initial thoughts going in. It's just definitely overmatched. Not that Casper Ruud is a bad player, but I just feel like he doesn't really have the weapons. His forehand can get going, but I just don't think he can kind of hit winners off any angle of the court. He definitely rallies the ball a little bit more, and Nadal can definitely take advantage of those rallies, especially when the ball kind of sits up a little bit. And from what I watched of the final, it was maybe the first couple sets were maybe closer than the score appeared, but Rafa really just dominated. And the third set, of course, was a bagel. It was pretty complete domination. Looks like from the stats, Nadal 82% first serve points won. So not getting any looks on that first serve. Second serve was 45%, but Casper was only able to win 31% of his second serve points. Ooh. And Nadal's first serve percentage was pretty high. It was 64%. So Casper's just not getting many looks there. Nadal was completely controlling the rallies. His forehand looked great, too. That was the other thing. If Nadal's feeling that forehand, he can hit it up the line. He really gets you on the cross court as he continues to wear you down and find those angles. I mean, he was hitting some crazy winners for sure.
Yeah, it was a clinic.
Yeah, definitely a clinic. Yeah, I don't think there's anything too interesting otherwise. Both players went to net about 22 times, looks like. Nadal 77% to 57% for Casper. Yeah, Nadal's really good as well when he can, finish the point at the net. Sometimes we forget how good he is at the net when he's hitting some of those finishing volleys, but he's got great touch when he does go there. And that's a great percentage for winning the volleys.
Yep, I'm hoping that we see more of that in Wimbledon. Him being more aggressive and trying to end points earlier.
Yeah.
Taking it to the net.
Well, speaking of being aggressive too, looking here at the serve numbers, only one ace from Nadal, which, I don't expect him to ace a lot, especially on clay, but Casper Ruud, 0 aces. He just doesn't have the firepower. You need someone like Zverev where they're going to get, a dozen aces or something, put up some sort of resistance where you can maybe escape from a break point. But Casper Ruud, he's not a super tall guy. And so then that means if he's not going to get some good cheap points off the serve, he's going to have to win them off the ground, which, maybe on a hard court, but not on a clay court against Nadal. So I just really didn't feel like he had much of a chance, but also, maiden Grand Slam final, maybe some nerves there, but still excited for him. And he's a great clay court player, great tennis player, but just overmatched against, one of the all-time greats or the all-time great on clay. So,
yeah, no doubt.
Let's see what else. Yeah. So I mentioned we got grass court season coming up here. So who do you got? Who do you got for Wimbledon, Matt? I picked the wrong people for the French. I said, playing on Nadal's here. He's looking rough. Alcaraz, maybe Djokovic. Both guys lost in the quarters. Who do you got for Wimbledon? Who are your favorites at least?
Man, that's a good question. And
I'll tell you who Ultimate Tennis Stats has, and we can see if we agree with them or not.
When are the draws?
Well, first of all, you know who a couple wild cards are given to, right? One to a former Wimbledon champ. So Murray has a wild card. Not surprising. And then his ranking slipped a lot, but obviously he's a favorite from the Brits. Stan Wawrinka, not a great grass court player. I think his best results the quarters, but he has a wild card, which is great. Let's see. Oh, do they not have the forecast yet? That's weird. I don't see one here for Ultimate Tennis Stats, but I'll tell you who I think the favorites are. So any thoughts on favorites?
I'm sure Joke is going to be up there. It wouldn't surprise me honestly if Aurelius. I think doesn't he usually play pretty well on grass? Wouldn't surprise me to see him up there.
I think so. Yeah, I think even last year he had a pretty good result. I don't remember if it was quarters or semis, but I think he had a good result.
And then Berrettini, we talked about him.
Oh yeah, Berrettini definitely. Oh yeah, and we should tell the listeners if they don't know, right? So Wimbledon, with the war going on in Ukraine, they have said no Russian or Belarusian players are able to play at Wimbledon this year, even if they try to say I'm under an independent flag or not going to play underneath the Russian flag, like I think the U.S. Open is allowing players to do. They can still play. So Wimbledon is a straight up ban. So that means number one player in the world right now is Medvedev. Not that he's the best on grass, but he's been getting better. He cannot even go to Wimbledon.
Solid, yeah.
Yeah. And Rublev, not the best, but he's no slouch either. Rublev won't be able to play on the women's side. There's some Belarusian players that can't play. Maybe not as many Russians, but definitely some good Belarusian players. They can't play. So then the ATP kind of retaliated because they're the ones in charge of the rankings. And Wimbledon is part of the ITF, International Tennis Federation. ATP said, fine, if you're not going to let Russian and Belarusian players play, then we're not going to give any ranking points for Wimbledon. And it's up to 2,000 points, right, if you win it. So players like Djokovic, who won it last year, defending 2,000 points, even if he wins it this year, doesn't get any points, right? Berrettini made the final. He's defending a lot of points that he can't defend, even if he makes the final again. So a lot of players have decried the decision as unfair, and I don't blame them, honestly. Obviously not a supporter of the war in Ukraine or Putin, but I don't think punishing the players and kind of upsetting that balance, I don't really think it's doing much good. But the decision's already been made, so that's kind of what we're dealing with. So it's kind of weird, right? So Medvedev would be the top seed, but he can't be there. Zverev is number 2 player in the world. He would be the next number 1 seed, but he's dealing with his ankle injury. I think he's having a surgery even. So he won't be able to be there. So that means the number 3 player in the world is Djokovic. So he'll be the number 1 seed, which, again, he's great on grass, like an 85% win record on grass, which is one of the best records. I think only Federer, maybe Sampras are better. Definitely Federer was like 87%. I was looking at it earlier. So Djokovic is definitely one of the better players on grass. So I would say probably he's the favorite. And then, like you're saying, Berrettini, Nadal would be somewhere in there. Both of those guys, maybe the next co-favorites. From there, I'm not really sure, honestly. Tsitsipas is good. Zverev won't be able to play, but he'd be good. So, yeah, I think from there it really opens up. Maybe even throwing a Murray low on the list, but still, he's at least a former winner. Cilic, he was playing great on clay, and he's been doing pretty well on grass. So I think Cilic could be up there. He's made a final before, but really your top 3 are going to be, I think the bookies would have Djokovic as a pretty heavy favorite, then probably Berrettini, then Nadal. I don't know. What do you think, Matt? Does that sound
I would agree with
reasonable?
That. Yeah, especially with Nadal having, obviously he's going to play and, but, he had like a freaking ablation done on a bone in his foot.
Yeah.
He says he's not limping or having any pain for the first time in weeks, but still a factor. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, because he even said he didn't want to make a habit of using that injection and wouldn't do it if he had to play at Wimbledon for the not being able to feel his foot. Like saying, I think even if he's not 100%, he'll play, but he's not going to go through the drastic measures. Yeah, just like he did at the French. So, so we'll see. He's definitely a good player on grass, but he hasn't won it since 2010. He's a 2-time winner, 2008 and 2010, but he hasn't won it in a while. But he's still a solid player, obviously, on any surface. So.
Hey, but this is the first time, because he's only won the Aussie twice, including this year. This is the first time. Then, the last time he won the Aussie, he lost the French. So this is the first time we're entering Wimbledon, and he's still got a Golden Slam.
True.
On the table.
He has the calendar slam on the table,
calendar
right?
Slam, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, last year Djokovic was going for it, didn't make it because Medvedev beat him at the U.S.
Right.
And then this year Nadal technically has a chance. Yeah, there's no Olympics, yeah, but still he has a chance. That's a great point. Can't neglect to say that. But Yeah, let's talk about Berrettini for a second. I was just watching some highlights from him from his run, not only at Stuttgart, where he won the title, but then he was able to back up and defend his title at Queens. I mean, this guy, he can just play. I really love not only the huge serve, the forehand combo, but he's got a great touch. Feel with the volleys, feel with the drop shot. His game is almost just suited for grass. He just plays incredible. He moves really well. Backhand's probably his weakness, but I don't feel like he lets that hurt him. He uses more slice and runs around it and things like that. So just impressed with his game, but also he's coming off of a pretty bad injury. I think it was a wrist injury, some sort of injury, and he wasn't expecting to do this well. He won 2 tournaments back to back weeks since that coming back from surgery. So pretty awesome for Berrettini. A lot of fans of him. I like that. So I wanted to break down his stats, looking this year and last year, looking at his grass court numbers, because they really are phenomenal. Let's take a look at those. I don't know if you have any thoughts on Berrettini, Matt.
Not anything outside of what you said. He seems very at home on the grass, so definitely someone to watch and see how he does and where he gets seated.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so here's Berrettini. Oh, of course, I lost my thing here. But let's see. We'll go grass. Trying to think who else. Is there anyone else we're missing on team? Is team playing? I know.
That's what I was just about to ask.
Or did he not even play the French? He might have gotten hurt again and then didn't play the French. I really feel really bad for team. I really enjoy watching him.
I thought he played the French. I think he played the lead ups.
He played the lead ups. I feel really bad for team. I mean, at least Wawrinka, he's not really winning, but at least he's able to compete. Team is just not the same. I think his wrist was still bugging him. It just wasn't working for him.
Who you haven't mentioned is, he played Roland Garros. He lost in the first round.
Oh, okay. My mistake, yeah. Who have I not mentioned?
Yeah, talk to us about Kyrgios.
Oh, looking Kyrgios, yeah. So he's going to be unseeded going into Wimbledon, and he had a pretty great run. He lost, I forgot another player, Hubert Hurkacz and Halle. So Kyrgios didn't make the final, but he made the semis, and he lost in 2 tie breaks, or maybe it was 3 sets. But the point is, he didn't get broken, and Hubert Hurkacz still won the match. And it was an incredible match. I think it did go 3 sets, 3rd set tiebreak. And Kyrgios was looking really good on grass. So good luck to anybody who has to face him early on. Be careful, Djokovic or Nadal. If you get him early in your bracket, you could be in trouble because Nick looks great. I think he did have to pull out of Mallorca, which is another grass court warm-up. But it was mainly for, I think, abdominal strain or something because he's been playing so much. But he's like, I just want to be ready for Wimbledon. So I think it's maybe more of a precaution. But, yeah, Nick Kyrgios is looking pretty good. Hurkacz is also looking good. I'm really, really impressed with the way he's moving. His serve's pretty huge as well. That's what Nick said. He said, I couldn't read his serve really at all. So he's serving huge, but he's also really getting to the net. Playing some great net game, and he can move pretty well. So I'm pretty happy with him. If you don't remember, he beat Roger Federer last year at Wimbledon, and had the bagel. I think it was a straight setter against Federer, but it was still a decent match, even though Federer was a little hobbled. Hurkacz earned it, and he's a great player. He's since won Miami. I think that was not this year, but last year. So Hurkacz is really becoming a good player. I really enjoy watching him. And he could be another maybe sleeper at Wimbledon. I don't know. They probably wouldn't call him a favorite, but he might be top 5 players to watch there. So
right on.
Yeah. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm still working on graph. Yeah. So for Matteo Berrettini, not loading correctly, but I think his numbers, from what I was seeing, it was something like 90% of his grass court matches that he won last year. I mean, I guess it makes sense, right? If you win Queens and you make it to the final Wimbledon, that's most of your matches. So just really impressed with the way he plays on the grass. Let me compare it to something else here. But excited for him. Hopefully he can play well. Let's sidebar over to Kevin Anderson. So he's one that he retired. I want to read part of the tweet or the thing that he sent out as far as his retirement. Thought it did kind of sum up his career pretty well. He said, "I'm so thankful for the wonderful things that come my way, purely because I was just part of the sport. As a kid, my dad used to tell me success isn't defined by results, but by the effort and sacrifice you make along the way, becoming the best you can. And I gave it my best." And I think that really does sum up Anderson, that he was always giving his best on the court. One of the best examples I can think of this is 2018, which was Anderson's best career results, where he made the top 5, made the Wimbledon final. En route to that, I believe it was the 4th round against Federer. He had to save 2 match points. He could have lost in straight sets. Instead, he went on to beat Roger Federer for the first time in his career, and beat him in 5 sets at Wimbledon. And he just never quit. And I think that was something Federer set up in the match. I thought I had him on the ropes, but he just never gave up. And throughout that Wimbledon and really throughout his career, I think he really did that. He always fought. He didn't always have the most talent. He had a big serve, good forehand, but the movement and the returns maybe just weren't quite there. Did get better at volleys, but yeah, he was always a fighter, and he won one of the longest semifinals Wimbledon history over Isner, where it was like 20 something in the 5th, right? I don't remember the exact score, or maybe it was 18. I'll look it up. But anyway, it was an amazing semifinal. That prompted the rule change, in fact, to be a tiebreaker at 12 all in the 5th. You remember that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So pretty amazing that really won match. And that led to, in my opinion, one of the best Wimbledon finals in 2019, really because of him and Isner playing great. And actually, I think that one was also, he actually had a losing record, which I didn't know, against John Isner. I would have thought it would have been. I knew they were kind of rivals from college because both of them, Anderson played at University of Illinois, Isner played at Georgia. Knew they had a kind of a rivalry from there. Yeah, so they played 13 times. The only other player he played more throughout his career was Sam Querrey, 17 times. Against Querrey, he won 9 of them, so barely, 53%. But against Isner, he only won 4 out of 13. But one of those 4 was that Wimbledon semifinal. Amazing match. So just a fighter. Djokovic, he only won 1 time out of 11 matches. That was his 4th most opponent. You know the player he never beat out of 12 times that he played him? The 3rd most person he played? Kind of forgot about this player. He's retired, but Tomas Berdych. Great player, but I wouldn't have thought, Anderson wouldn't have got a win over him. But yeah, 0 for 12 against Berdych.
Wow.
Federer, he won 1 time out of 7, which again, that was 1 time was a huge time. 2018 Wimbledon, and having match points. So it'd been so easy. Like, match points. Federer's already beaten me a bunch of times. Never beaten him. So I beat Cilic 1 out of 8. So, maybe didn't always have the results, but I definitely do agree with his sentiment there that he always fought to the last ball and always was a fighter. And, looking at his stats, he only won about 60% of his matches in his career, which I'm not quite sure what the Hall of Fame cutoff is, but it's not 80% or whatever, like Federer and Nadal and those guys are. He wasn't winning basically every match. But he was definitely fun to watch, and he definitely gave it heart. I know even in the Wimbledon final against Djokovic, where he lost straight sets, but despite him being so exhausted from the semis, he gave it his all in that one as well, and I think the crowd really appreciated his effort. I remember when I watched that one. He made another slam final in 2017 against Rafa, and Rafa beat him in straights as well. But so I think, honestly, for the amount of talent he had, making 2 slam finals in the era that we're in, probably pretty good.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
But yeah, I don't know if you have any thoughts on Anderson or any Anything about Kevin Anderson?
Oh, he had some good matches, and it's a bummer to see him go.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize. It's like, oh, yeah, I guess he's probably in his 30s now. I was like, yeah. I looked up. Yeah, he's 36 years old. Like, yeah. Definitely, that's old for tennis, which maybe we get spoiled with Rafa and Roger,
Right.
trying to stick around. But he definitely remained competitive. Anderson did, but his best years were some of his later years, right? Just, what was that? I guess 4 years ago now, 2018. So he's 31, 32 in his best season. So
Yeah. True.
a great player from South Africa. Really, though, I think, did he switch flags? I think he might have been on America first and switched to South Africa, but kind of the mixed heritage, I guess. I know his roots were definitely South Africa, but he moved to America.
Gotcha.
But still amazing for him. And let's see, how many titles did he have? He had like 6 titles or something. I think I just looked at that. I think one was in New York, not the U.S. Open, but the Masters 250. 7 titles. Let me break it down. Okay, here we go. So he won at Newport on grass, and then Vienna, New York, Johannesburg. That's pretty cool. South Africa, where he's from. Delray Beach, Winston-Salem, New York, like I mentioned, and Poon. And 3 of those titles came in 2018. Newport even came in 2021 last year. Wow, that's amazing. So, like you said, he remained very competitive up to basically his retirement. So, best of luck to you, Kevin Anderson. Let's see. Did we cover everything we needed to cover? Yeah, Wimbledon's pretty much next week, right? It'll be fun to see what happens there. Do we think it's a repeat? I mean, I don't know what the draw is going to be. I think a Berrettini Djokovic final probably likely. Maybe Djokovic Nadal if we're lucky. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I think that's probably what the books will say with Berrettini and Djok. But I don't know. Djok's been off his rocker for most of the
agree.
season. So I could see some upset being there. Maybe I don't think he really played anything between French and now. Maybe he found a way to get his mind right. But
yeah, it's possible. But at the same time, Djokovic, I feel like the times he's upset, it's not usually at Wimbledon. He usually can find a good game. And he just said, he's like, I don't care about the ranking points as much. It's annoying, but he's like, I don't need any more motivation. It's still a Grand Slam, and Wimbledon's my dream slam, basically. So we will see. That's another Anderson match. Okay, that one was a heartbreaker for Anderson, and I wanted him to beat Djokovic, but it was one where he was up 2-0 on Djokovic. It got dark. Then the next day they came back, and I think they were already midway through that third set, maybe even like up a break. And Djokovic ended up winning that one 7-5 and then won the next 2 sets. So you're like, no. But again, still a fighter. Obviously, some of the momentum changes that happen like that with tennis. That happens sometimes. A rain delay, you come back, and the other guy just totally comes back and wins it. But Anderson was definitely part of some memorable matches. That's for sure.
Yep, no doubt.
But that's all I have. Please visit us at cognitionsphere.com. The music is brought to us by Kevin MacLeod with excerpts from his song Cool Rock. And please share our podcast with a friend that loves tennis. And until next time, we'll see you on the court.